and have a peaceful day.
Yeah, thank you.
Always a pleasure to see you, Salim.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. Got a beautiful sunrise, a beautiful day ahead.
Stop requested.
Alright, man. See you, bro. Rico GR. What's poppin', people? It's Dante. Getting my morning started here in Fairmount Park, Philadelphia. Wow, I don't know if the GoPro picks this up, but there's a crazy spider web here. Look at that. Can you get it with the Rico? Look at that. +1 exposure. Maybe from this angle? Huh. Maybe with the light? It's tricky. How do you photograph a spider web? Yeah, so today I'm thinking about what it means to say yes to life. So I'm a photographer, and each click of the shutter is me affirming life itself. It's me saying yes to life. And what does that mean? It's essentially, I'm very eager for the day. I'm very eager to catch the sunrise and embrace the spirit of play. For there's so much to do, to see, to explore, and to photograph. You know, I think about life this way, where it's an endless sort of pursuit of wonder and awe and curiosity. And in order to embrace this sort of childlike curiosity, one must enter a flow state. And to enter the flow, one must forget everything they think they know. And so what this means is emptying your mind and sort of finding yourself, setting your body in motion without preconceived notions of what you will find. And so with each click of the shutter, you're asking why. You're wondering what's out there. Who is this? What is this? And so photography is a way for me to have a dialogue with the world. It's a way for me to embrace curiosity openly and honestly, through authenticity, through the way that I carry myself throughout my everyday life. And so one of the most practical suggestions I have for street photographers is to stop taking yourself so seriously. And when you embrace this playful spirit and you treat the world like a playground, and you're just this big kid and you're just out there exploring, you find yourself in this very exuberant state of being where you have this insatiable lust for life, you know, where you just can't help but smile when you see the sun each day, you know, for there's just so much to do. There's so much to do, man. It's like there's just so much to see, to explore. It's an open world, you know, where the world is like, and life is like this ultimate video game, and you kind of have to level up, right, in your everyday life, physically, mentally, spiritually, and I believe artistically. Through the use of a camera, we can achieve this goal of transcendence, of evolving, of evolution, right? You think of Nietzsche's famous metamorphosis from Thus Spoke Zarathustra, where the man embraces all of societal norms, embraces as much as he can bear on his back like a camel, and from there goes into the wilderness and becomes a lion, destroying all of these societal norms and creating his own values. And then finally returning to the childlike state, where in the childlike state, you recognize that you really don't know much. You don't know anything, actually. And so by returning to day one, each and every day, you can find yourself in this endless transformative state of being, right? This is where we want to be, and I think in our everyday lives, where you can become hardened by societal norms, you can become hardened by information and everything that you think you know, but when you return to the childlike state, this gives you an endless expanse for you to grow vertically, upwards and onwards. You know, that's where I strive to ascend, is up. And so the only thing that's holding you down is the laws of physics. We're bound by gravity. Obviously, we're flesh creatures. We cut, we bleed, we feel sorrow, pain, and greed. We lust for the flesh of others. We are imperfect creatures, but that mortality, and recognizing that mortality, that finite nature of our lives, I believe awakens your spirit. And so by returning to day one each and every day like a child, I'm born again. And each and every night when I go to bed, I treat my sleep like a miniature death, and I assume that I won't wake up the next day. And what that does is when I wake up in the morning, I'm just so full of gratitude. I'm so full of gratitude for the simple pleasures in life, for the sunlight, for the meat in my freezer, for the water in my cup, for my camera, for the ability for me to see, to hear, and to feel the sensations on my skin of this beautiful day, of the sun entering my eyes, emanating through my oculus, allowing me to then see and perceive the world with sharp visual acuity with a camera, to then make something out of it, to create upon the canvas, using that light, drawing with that light. You know, this to me is the essence of photography, to use light as our subject and to follow light. And perhaps light is truth, you know, where I find the endless pursuit of transformation, of evolution and change is where I seek to be. For everything is in flux, and no two days or no two things will ever be the same. You know, everything is in flux, everything is growing and changing, you know. When a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, it has to go into the chrysalis and turn to goo. And then when it turns to goo, it transforms into this beautiful, miraculous thing that flutters around and is full of beauty and intricate details and patterns. And when you start to recognize these patterns in nature, in human behavior, whether you're looking at the trees and the way that they grow and the way the lungs in your physical body echo the shapes of these branches, or the leaves and the way that the veins within them echo the shapes and lines that are within your body, within your veins, carrying nutrients throughout your bloodstream. You know, this to me is a beautiful thing, to observe people and the way that they move and groove on the street, the way that we move our feet. You know, for we are these biped people who stand upright, who have a tall spine with a head that's connected to our brain that allows us to see. We can turn on a swivel, look around, reach for things. You know, we can nourish our bodies, we can create tools, kill animals, eat the animals, and then become stronger and grow. And this this evolution of man becoming stronger, becoming more physically capable, I believe is one of the most supreme sort of like feelings in life, is this feeling of vitality, this feeling of physical overcoming, you know, through overcoming any physical challenges, through becoming extremely strong. You go upwards, you soar upwards, kind of just like an eagle looking down at everything, and nothing really phases you, right? Like nothing can really break your spirit or your lust for life when you're full of physical vitality. With physical strength comes mental strength and spiritual strength, and these things do connect in a way where now when you transcend as an eagle in flight, you don't really care for the lamb, you don't really care for the things that you have to acquire along your journey in this material plane, whether it's killing an animal to satiate yourself, or acquiring wealth for you to support a family, or have homes and structures for you to dwell in. You know, it's kind of funny. It's like I think as Christians, we neglect this modern world in a way. In a way, it is kind of like, you know, meaningless. Like, oh, let me get money to, you know, support myself, and then, okay, that's enough. But then it's like, okay, I want more. It's like, well, what do you want more for? Like, what do you really need from this world? And so when you realize the meaninglessness of material things, you, I believe, then ascend upwards and let go of the world. And by letting go of the world, you become free, you become light, like a bird in flight. And then you are free to dance, to sing, to play. And then from that state of being up in the world, up high and lofty, soaring above the sky like an eagle, yeah, then you are free, I believe. And so it's through physical vitality and spiritual awakeness. And so I think it's a very interesting thought, because in order to transform, in order to grow, I believe one must experience pain and suffering. One must have their roots planted deep within hell, kind of like these trees rooted deep within the ground. You know, these trees, some of them have been standing here for hundreds of years. I believe the centennial was what, in 1876? So yeah, I mean, over 100 years, some of these trees have probably been here, and they have deep, deep roots. They've experienced competition, growing upwards, competing for sunlight amongst each other. And I think this is nature. This is what it is to be a human. This is what it is to be a tree. This is what it is to be a biological being. And so it's very natural to have to compete within the modern world, within this physical material plane. But beyond that lies God. Beyond that lies the divine. And when you recognize that everything is in flux and everything is connected in one, well, you too have this spark of the divine. You too have Christ within you, and you have this power that's deep within inside you, and this godlike ability to create, similar to the way in which the Creator used light and created the cosmos, similar to the way in which the Creator, the source, the divine, Christ, created us, you know. And then when you are no longer the consumer, when you no longer are needing from this like material shit of the world, you then transcend it all and become a creator. You're no longer a consumer, where now you are godlike. And so I think it's important for us to ascend, to go up on a vertical axis, not necessarily horizontally, where we're always seeking to be, you know, competing against one another. Oh, I need this, I need that, I want this woman, I want this car, blah, blah, blah. It's all meaningless. And so float upwards like an eagle in flight, ascend, transform, evolve, go into your little chrysalis, become gooey, embrace pain and suffering, go through hell, and then ascend upwards to heaven. This to me is the beauty of life. It's very simple, actually. You kind of have to let go of everything you think you know, begin to understand yourself, find peace amongst the chaos, find peace within yourself, within your everyday life. And then from that peace, from that abundant state of being, through vitality, through physical excellence, through mental clarity, through artistic abilities, comes spirituality. And then when you embrace that path of the spiritual, when you see beyond this sort of veil, when you reject the material plane, you then can, I believe, ascend and transform fully back to the child, back to that first state of being, back into your chrysalis, back into the womb of the mother that gave birth to you before you even were birthed into this world. And then from that state you eternally evolve forever until you die. And perhaps you can't live forever, but you know, at least you can make a photograph. And yeah, at least we have GoPros where we can rant our thoughts out in the morning, and have coffee and my camera, and I got a place to sleep and meat in my fridge, and I feel good because I had an air-conditioned room which allowed me to sleep. And you know, there's some simple things from this material world that is, you know, nice to embrace, but yeah, ultimately it's temporary. And so perhaps recognizing that finite nature of it all once again awakens your spirit, and then from that awakened spirit you embrace that spirit of play like the child, endlessly affirming life each and every day, because you're so full of gratitude, you're so full of abundance and joy, and this insatiable lust for life that has you coming out here and asking why, and has you coming out here endlessly curious, not hardened by what you think you know. By simply letting go, embracing flow, you find peace. This to me is where I want to be, endlessly walking the street, curious just about what's beyond the horizon, following the light and snapshotting my way through my everyday life, finding beauty in the mundane,